The Zoom call.
We've got this. Yeah, we've got this one too, but we can record that.
Okay, so
And then we can pull it down later and upload it later.
so record off this. Okay, I can do that. Huh? Wait, record the Zoom call?
Yes. Okay. We'll do both. That way we'll get it, definitely get it.
All right. We'll give Gary a couple minutes here, see if he can get his mic to work. How do I record? Is it up meeting information?
Just realized I'm logged into my daughter's account.
Oh, right there in the middle.
Oh, hi, Kennedy.
I'm not really Kennedy.
Can you turn them up at all? By chance? If not, don't worry about it. Did you get it to work, Gary?
Yes, can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, great.
Great, thank you. All right. To the cloud or computer?
Let's say computer, I've never done it.
I'll just do computer. All right.
Recording in progress.
I'm going to go ahead and record this. I'm not sure if we're getting our YouTube stream to record, but that way people can come back and watch this meeting later on, so we're missing a couple members. So appreciate everybody taking some time out of their busy work schedules today to join us. It's been a while since we've had an advisory committee meeting, so I am going to start off and share our agenda for this morning. Can everybody see that okay?
Yes.
All right. So I'll call the meeting to order. This morning we don't have any presentations, no members from the public here, nothing on consent or new business. So we're just going to kind of go into some discussion items, cover some areas for you guys, go through kind of staff updates and upcoming programs, events, and current projects. At any point during this meeting, feel free to ask questions, but we'll definitely give you guys an opportunity at the end to ask questions. And with that, I will have us kind of go around the room, introduce yourselves, kind of how long you've been in the community, what do you do, and then we'll get into our staff and responsibilities. So with that being said, Jeff, would you like to start?
Sure, yeah. So I'm Jeff Cordray, and I own Cordray Roofing. We have an office here on Main Street. Been in the community for ever. I think I moved here when I was a sixth grader. 1992, Chicago Bulls were in the playoffs. Kind of one of those, two three-peats they had. So, yeah, I'm Jeff.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Steve, would you like to go next?
Sure. I'm Steve Blue. Sorry I don't have a camera on today. Originally from Salina native. I worked for the city of Salina Parks and Recreation for 3 decades and retired from there. My wife and I decided to follow our children. They all landed here, and so here we are. I work for building maintenance for a private company here up in Lenexa, and glad to be aboard. Hope that I can be of help.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Steve. Molly?
I'm Molly Keene. I have lived in Gardner for 21 years. Spent 20 years in the Parks and Rec business. And let's see, I think I've been on the committee since it started. I'm not sure what year that was. But definitely before the pandemic.
Yes. All right, thank you, Molly. Gary?
Yeah, Gary Fleming. I'm pretty much been in Gardner, I think, 26, 27 years now. I work for a security software company with forensics and security software. Currently, I also volunteer with Urban Trail Company, help build and maintain trails here in the Johnson County area. Pretty much help assist out with Kill Creek and help build Lexington Lake Park as well.
Okay. Well, again, thank you all for attending, and it's nice to have some people with Parks and Rec ties and definitely community ties. Being a part of our committee, and we appreciate you guys being here. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Adrian. She'll cover kind of what our staff looks like. We've had quite a bit of turnover since the pandemic, with staff and as well as obviously our advisory committee. So I'll turn it over to her to kind of talk about who we have on board with staff today. We actually had a new individual start today, so kind of throwing her to the wolves, but kind of show you what each of our team members do throughout the year. And Adrian, I'll let you go.
Okay, yeah, well, like Jason said, I'm Adrian Holloperic. I'm the Recreation Superintendent. I know a couple of you, I haven't met a couple of you, so nice to meet you guys. I'm going to try and share my screen. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Now?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, this is kind of a master calendar that is always kind of a work in progress. But like Jason said, we've had a little bit of turnover with staff, also just some kind of positioning with some current staff that kind of moved to a different position. So as we're kind of looking into the next year, we think we've got a pretty good plan on what staff responsibilities and stuff will look like. So we have 4, Jordan, Jason, another Jason, we call him 2.0 because we already have Jason, and then Kara are our 3 recreation supervisors, and they kind of split majority of these responsibilities. So I'll just kind of go through them. They're color coded. So Jason, new Jason Wilkinson, he's our mostly sports guy. So he covers all of our summer baseball, softball, t-ball stuff. Right now he's doing flag football, volleyball. We're actually getting ready he's doing an adult cornhole league this fall that's getting ready to start tomorrow night. If we bring back adult softball, he'll cover that. Any of the, adult programming and stuff he'll cover as well. And then this winter, I don't know if you guys have heard yet, but we are taking youth basketball back over. We haven't had youth basketball, all the leagues and stuff since, it's been at least 5-6 years now. So excited about that. So right after his flag football season ends, he'll go right into winter basketball. And so we'll do that and the schools. And then we also have a little ballers basketball program that's in conjunction with JCPRD. So we do that out at New Century. So he'll start that as well. And then we do some adult volleyball. So that's kind of his schedule.
Adrian,
Yeah.
so how did that happen? How did you guys did they offer it back to you, or?
Yeah, the basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really did. They kind of came back to us and just said, are you interested in taking basketball back over? For the last few years, GEYCP was somewhat running a basketball league. I think they did more clinics and stuff, and so and I think they're still planning on doing that side of it, I think. Don't quote me, but so we were happy to take it back over. It's been something we've obviously missed the last few years, and Jason is excited to have that big winter project back. So
and I will add to that, Molly. I've been working with the school district pretty heavily the last 6 months. Getting that relationship back, and we started having a weekly meeting with John Duncanson with USD 231. Keeping that communication open. Making sure that we're trying to provide services, partnerships and things for everyone in the community. And so, like Adrian said, we're excited to get the basketball program back and looking forward to working with USD 231 in the future.
Good.
And so Jordan, she is mostly special events, but she's also going to she has been doing our aquatics. And so she's going to keep that as well. So she has all of our big special events. We just finished the Smoke on the Trails barbecue competition a couple weekends ago. And then we're getting ready to have our Grand Slam Crappier Wine Fest in October. And then she'll go right into Boo Bash. And then she kind of gets a little bit of a break until we do a daddy-daughter dance in February. And then she's heavy in the pool until, all through the summer. But she'll also do our big 4th of July event as well. So she's kind of got all the big special events. And then Kara, who actually, just like Jason said, she started today. So she's going to take over our youth soccer program. And that's we do a fall season and a spring season. So that's basically year round. She's got like the month of June off from soccer, but so that'll be kind of one of her main responsibilities. And then she'll do all instructional recreation programs. So dance classes, babysitting classes, any kind of like those instructor-led classes, she'll facilitate those. And then the smaller special events. So we do like a fishing derby, Earth Day, a mother-son event, the campouts in the summer. So that'll be her responsibilities. So that's kind of what our staff looks like. And then I'm on here as well doing, I used to do soccer, but that's going to be the transition that Kara's going to make. I'm going to continue to oversee our Special Olympics program, which is year round, all of our tournaments or tournament reservations. I'll do like the facility management with the concession stands, and then all of our sponsorships, and kind of handle all that. So that's kind of a little bit about our staff and what our responsibilities are. And we're continuing, as we continue to grow, we'll continue to grow our programs as well. So
Are you guys fully staffed?
we are now, on the rec side. So our parks side, we are missing a park superintendent, and that's something that we're potentially, that's something we're looking to in the future. But yes, our rec side is fully staffed. So as of today, as of 2 hours ago, so we're excited.
That's good.
Okay.
So
And I kind of touched on upcoming programs and events.
Yeah, so like I said, we just had our barbecue competition. We had 39 teams this year, so that was down a little bit. Last year we had 52, I think, so down a little bit, but everything went very well. Jordan did a nice job with that event. Our fall soccer kicked off last weekend as well. This season we have 635 kids signed up, so that's a pretty good number for fall. Typically our spring season is just a little bit higher, but we started that last weekend, and we're going strong with all that. Youth volleyball started last week. Flag football actually starts tonight, pending our uniforms get here. We're dealing with, like everyone, the supply issues with our vendors and stuff. So anyways, they're scheduled to start their first games this evening. And then Jason's offering an adult cornhole league. First time for us to offer it. Right now he's got 16 teams signed up, so that starts tomorrow night. We're going to do it out at Celebration Park in the outfield of one of the baseball fields. So he's looking forward to that. I think it'll be a fun time for the adults. And then we've got our Grand Slam Crappier Wine Fest coming up. Originally, that event we had scheduled in conjunction with our Smoke on the Trails barbecue. But we found out through kind of trial and error here that apparently September is a lot of these vendors, these wineries, harvest season. And so we weren't getting a lot of vendors contacting us back, and we started figuring out that was why. So we moved that now to October. So now we know when we have a wine event, it needs to be in October so that more vendors can participate. So that's going to be October 8th, and we're still selling tickets to that. And then Boo Bash is October 27th. That's also out at Celebration Park. So, and then right after that, we start going into all the Christmas stuff. So busy time coming up.
Do you guys have any way of knowing how many people attended the 4th of July event?
We kind of lean on, PD, drone footage, over, looking parking lots and things like that.
Mhm.
This last year, or 2022, we estimate around 7,000.
Oh, wow.
And just kind of based on, previous years and, of
Mhm.
course, that event, like all other events, are always weather dependent, right? So,
Right.
but it was a great crowd.
Good.
And, with supply chain issues and things, we got very fortunate, with, like, especially with fireworks, getting those in
Yeah.
and things like that. And so, it's something I was going to touch on along with staff. This year for seasonals, I don't know if you guys noticed, but there were a handful of aquatic centers around the metro that didn't open because of lifeguard shortages. And we actually started the year off pretty strong. Once the season gets underway, you do have some fall off. Individuals not liking the position. Fortunately for us, we had about an influx of 15 come on after like the first month. And so there were only a handful of days that we had to either shut down slides or maybe not have one side open because we had a couple of weeks of COVID. But we were very fortunate this year for our aquatic season to have really good lifeguards on staff, great managers, facility attendants, concession employees. We had a really, really good staff this year and had a very successful aquatic season. On the park side, we struggled a little bit with seasonals. Typically, we carry about 15. We did up the seasonal wage a couple dollars to kind of draw some interest, but when you're competing with other, companies and businesses that are, paying $17, $18 an hour, we only had around 6 to 7 seasonals this year. They were great. They help out a lot with our special events. That was really the only area that we were kind of down. But looking at umpires and facility supervisors, we had a really good turnout. And, a lot of these umpires are now going to transition into football, officiating flag football, and then we hope to keep them on board moving along with youth basketball. So the seasonals are very important for us as well. So I did want to mention that.
Good.
Adrian, anything else on programs or events, or can I move on to projects?
Yeah, you can move on.
Okay. Last thing that I have on our discussion item are status on current projects, upcoming projects. So currently we are we're going to go out to bid for the Quell Meadows Trail. I am going to share my screen now. Everybody see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
So back in 2019, we started the Kill Creek Trail right here off of Waverly, next to the high school on the west side of Waverly. We ended up getting up to around 169th Terrace. And then we were looking for additional funding to finish this trail up to Quell Meadows subdivision. We actually, after 4 years of trying, secured a $249,000 grant from Kansas Department of Wildlife, Parks, and Tourism. So we are going out to bid to complete that trail probably within the next, I'd say, 2 to 3 weeks, hoping to start that project by the end of the year. I'm sure many of you have heard there's a lot of concrete shortages going on right now, as this will be a concrete trail. So that's kind of the first project trail-wise that's coming online. A little bit of history with the trails and connectivity. One of our major goals as a department is connectivity throughout the city. So how can we get kids safely to and from schools? For those of you that have been around a long time, know that kind of St. John's Trace has been out on an island out here. We've got some development coming in that's going to have connectivity to our trail system. We also have a trail coming in along 175th Street. So now you're going to start to see connectivity to the high school and to Madison for everybody basically on this side of Gardner. Next in line is getting connectivity up towards Symphony Farms area and Macon Valley. I'm sure several of you have seen a lot of dirt movement right in this area. Can you guys see this where my mouse is?
Uh-huh.
So this is a new subdivision that's coming online, and you can kind of see the floodplain through here. Let me turn this on. Right through kind of the middle, working from the northwest to the southeast. There will be a trail through there that we will get connected. The city owns this parcel of land right through here, so we'll have connectivity off of Waverly down to Madison through this development. So that's kind of what we have coming online for trails right now. You know, and looking at, you know, future growth, updating our master plan, how can we get that connectivity, you know, throughout the city. Currently we are, let me scoot over here to our aquatic center. Starting today, we started a pool fence replacement. So our fence that we have is been the same fence we've had. We've had some sections replaced, but we're getting the entire exterior fence replaced at the pool starting today. So that's good news for our aquatic center. Have any of you been out to our disc golf course lately?
No.
No.
Did anybody know
Where
that
is it?
we had a disc golf course? So back in I believe it was 2017, 2018, the city began a lease with Great Life to take over the front nine of the golf course. The city spent some funds to redo the irrigation on the front nine. And so we operate the back nine, and we put in an 18-hole disc golf course. We created a partnership with a volunteer group, a disc golf volunteer group out of Olathe called the Olathe Chain Reapers. And so they come out, move baskets, pick up trash. They'll start hosting some tournaments. We just received our hole signs that went in, I believe it was 2 weeks ago. We've been waiting on those for almost over a year due to supply and design and all that stuff. But it is a very, very cool 18-hole golf course that we're going to start having some large-scale tournaments out there. So
That's
if you haven't,
awesome.
if you haven't gotten a chance, you know, something to do, kids. We're seeing a lot of families out there playing. It's a really neat layout. We've got concrete tee boxes, which are a huge hit for the guys that play more seriously. But it's a really cool track out there.
Jason, where do they park at? I know sometimes coming around the lake there, you know, past the clubhouse, I've seen some people kind of parking like up on the gravel piece.
Right. Over here?
A little bit further north.
Are you talking right
Yes.
here?
I think right along in there.
So you can kind of see, I think this is updated. Yeah, so this is hole 1, 2, 3, I think this is hole 4 going here. So yeah, you will see some parking back here. That's something that we are discussing, is future parking lot dedicated to disc golf.
Okay.
It's a conversation we have started with them, because we know as more and more people find out about this course, parking is going to become an issue, especially when we get into tournament season. Because I know Great Life, you know, they have their 9-hole course, and they've done a beautiful job renovating that. But yes, we're, you know, the days that they have tournaments on, let's say Saturdays or Sundays, and trying to have a disc golf tournament as well, you know, parking is going to be an issue.
Yeah, because I haven't seen any signage or anything, so I didn't know if there's any plans of that to, you know, point people in that direction.
Yes, that is something that we are looking to address, and you know, utilize some funds to try to get a dedicated parking lot for disc golfers.
Okay.
Other than that, the last big project that we have coming online, I'm sure some of you have heard, is the city's first inclusive playground. That will be at Veterans Park. We've had discussion with members of the community, and we have the governing body has dedicated funds to do our first inclusive playground. We went out for RFQs over a month ago, and our selection committee received 4 just recently over the last couple weeks that we selected AFCO and Landscape Structures to do this project. So they are beginning kind of with a preliminary design for our steering committee that we've selected some stakeholders throughout Gardner to give feedback and input on design, kind of what do we want this to look like. So it'll be kind of neat for me. Let me pull out here, get the veterans. So here's kind of our footprint if you haven't seen it. We have kind of 2 sides currently, a 2 to 5 play area and a 5 to 12. So we're gonna basically utilize this footprint as kind of a starting point for this inclusive playground. And so Veterans Park, we did our ribbon cutting in March of 2003. And so that will be 20 years ago next March, and that's actually when I first started in Gardner. So it'll be kind of neat for me personally, 20 years after, I had my mom and my first big job, seeing this park get ribbon cutting, that hopefully, middle of next year, we're going to be doing the same thing for the city's first, all-inclusive playground. So I'm really excited for it, and, I know the citizens are excited for it, and, that's something that we're looking to complete, hopefully middle of year next year, depending on, supplies and pour in place or turf, whatever we decide to go with for the surfacing. So that's kind of,
Jason,
go ahead.
Those are terribly expensive. That's why they're so hard to come up with. Salina is just now pursuing their first all-inclusive playground because they're so darned expensive.
Yes, they are, and honestly, all the playground stuff, is super expensive. And one of the main issues we're having with veterans right now is just because it's so old, it's approaching 20 years. Trying to find replacement parts, for things like that, those things are obsolete. So yeah, it will be expensive, but with governing body support and dedicated funds, this is going to be something great for the community.
Good
Are there
deal.
any plans to add to any of the celebration park, like maybe add a swing or something for those kiddos?
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to look and see, okay, what amenities are we going to have first and foremost with the first inclusive playground? And then, we're going to have other playgrounds that are coming, they're approaching 16, 17, 18 years that we're going to need to replace as well. So it's a matter of us looking at, okay, let's say Wynwood is the next one online. What inclusive components can we have there that you don't have at Veterans? So if Veterans Park doesn't have those features, then here's an alternative park that you can go to for those, whether it's sensory, mobility, things like that. And then as we start to progressively replace these playgrounds, let's have some different individual components so we can touch on all those different areas of inclusive play.
Okay, that's good.
Any other questions, comments? That's really all the discussion items that Adrian and I have for today, and please feel free to ask.
Yeah, I have a quick one. Is the Parks and Rec working with the county as far as connecting up some trails, like a paved trail up to like 143rd at the Johnson County Park?
Yes, so back in 2018, the county had a grant program that actually did help us, provided some funding to do that first piece of the Kill Creek Trail that I shared with you earlier. And so it just so happens that, my old boss here in Gardner, he's now the deputy director in Johnson County, Jeff Stewart, and we have talked about, that connectivity, basically from Bull Creek to Gardner to Kill Creek as kind of the big picture. And the Kill Creek Master Plan, I believe, does show that. That's a document. It's been a working document for several years, even when Jeff was here in Gardner. And so, yes, we do communicate about that. Look for partnerships and funding sources So yes, we do talk to them about connectivity throughout the metro.
Okay.
That's a great question.
I've got one.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Thank you. So, so we have girls and boys playing softball and baseball tournaments. So I'm kind of seeing around the area that everything is Saturday, Sunday, and I hear a lot of people asking for Saturday only, or maybe Friday night, Saturday. So I know, do you have availability at Celebration to maybe hold some Saturday only tournaments? It could be something that the city's known for. Also, I heard you mention that that you've repaired the relationship with the school district. Might be something where we can get involved with the school as well. But just want to throw it out there, plant that seed.
Yeah, for sure. Since we've been doing tournaments, 10, 12 plus years, you have those standard, big tournaments that you're familiar with coaching in the sport, Hawaiian Hit Fest and, the Bubba Starling and Cowtown Showdown. Those ones are pretty much, same time of year, set in stone. And we are seeing, those one-day shootouts. And so, yes, there's absolutely potential for growth with that. I know coming online next year in 2023, we're going to start seeing some more girls softball tournaments here in Gardner because a lot of the complexes around the metro are getting eaten up by baseball tournaments. And so there's a lot of girls softball tournaments that are looking for places to play. So, when these third-party directors come in and they're looking for space, we do have space. We're pretty heavy in, April, May, June. Those are kind of the heavy months where we have tournaments going on. And sometimes Celebration Park isn't big enough. And so we're having overflow at Westside. Or we'll have two different tournaments running in a weekend where one group's out at Westside, one group's out at Celebration Park. So to answer your question, yeah, there is, I think, opportunities, to do those one-day shootouts in the future.
Thank you.
Hey, Jason. So I live in a neighborhood near the post office, and so I walk the blacktop trails along Center Street a lot, and the cracks in those trails have gotten big enough now that they're swallowing my small dog. Are there any plans to start repairing those? Because they're really getting bad.
Yeah, so Center Street, and I'm glad you brought that up, is in CIP. So it's in our capital improvement project. I've been pushing it off for about a year now. So you remember earlier when I talked about us going for the state grant from Kansas Department of Wildlife, Parks and Tourism for Kill Creek Trail that we secured.
Yeah.
So I've been doing the same thing for this trail. And
Okay.
we've had letters of recommendation from businesses along that trail, as well as everyday walkers such as yourself. And so we actually just reapplied for that because they do it twice a year. I believe this is the third year in a row that we're hoping to secure funds for. And so
Okay.
I'm hoping if I keep asking, then they'll make me go away and maybe have some funding sources for us. So, but yes, it is online. It is one of our most used trails in the system. And now that we've got some new businesses coming down to the southern end, I'd like to see that trail, get all the way to the interchange, if not across it. So that's another thing. I'm glad you kind of brought that up, is as we're updating our master plan, you guys are starting to see growth on the south side of 35 now, and also on the east side of 35. And so incorporating, those areas into our master plan, for park and playground development, trail development, connectivity. And so, making sure that we are thinking about those service areas and what the future will look like for them.
Okay.
And I like the direction, as far as connecting everything. So I know, like when the trails are closed, I like to ride, say on the paved trails per se, and with all the construction and all the starting, especially on the northern end, it's just about dangerous to get on a bike as well with, all the construction going on, traffic.
Sure. Sure, absolutely. Anybody else? Any questions, comments? Okay. Well, again, I appreciate everyone taking their time to have this meeting and kind of updating everyone on what we have coming down the pike. And, please feel free to email Adrian or myself. We're always looking for ideas and comments, constructive criticism, some feedback. You guys, several of you have been around a long time, and we're looking to, try to keep, implementing, different, events and programs and things. And we love to hear from you guys if you had ideas on things that we could do in the future.
Sounds good.
All right.
How often
Yeah.
do you think we're gonna try and do this?
Say that again.
Just as needed?
Say that again, Molly.
How often do you think we're gonna try and meet? Just as needed?
Yeah, I would like to at least try to do it quarterly, if that would work for you guys. Or, if some, topic comes up where we may seek, a committee recommendation on a project, or something like that. I think once we kind of get through final design for the inclusive playground, I'd like to bring it to our advisory committee for some feedback or support of the project, after we utilize our steering committee. So I'll definitely be in touch with you guys, hopefully, by the end of the year. So if we could try to do this quarterly, I know it's hard to get everyone together, and kind of when I reached out to everyone to see, what works better. Is it, daytime, nighttime? So, try to coordinate that to where we get at least a majority of you guys together and share everything that's going on and, get your feedback and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
sounds good.
Sounds good. Well, I appreciate
Yeah.
everybody, and stay out of the heat today. It's going to be a hot one.
Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you all for welcoming me on board. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it, Steve.
You bet.
Have a great day, everyone.
All right,
You too.
thanks. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Bye. Bye.
Recording stopped.